Okay, now you should be able to hear me. I'm not sure how you were getting sound at all. So that's my only concern is that you shouldn't have been getting anything because the mic had disconnected. So just, because this is how it goes when you're live streaming, right? Or when you're setting up to do a recording, right? I had everything set up. I usually start setting up about 2 hours before I start to go live. And then an hour in, I do another check to make sure everything's working. And then, of course, about 20 minutes before I was going to hit the go live button, everything froze. Now, that hasn't happened to me in months, maybe over a year, but that's how it goes, right? So that's another good tip. We might as well start off with it, right? Just assume things will go wrong at some point. Don't freak out. You can get it fixed. It's just going to take a couple of seconds, but, it's all good. And it happens to everybody. It doesn't matter whether we're talking like, a professional newscast kind of thing, with, dozens of people on staff. Things go wrong. That's just a part of reality. It's part of life. Don't let it throw you. So, so thank you for that heads up, Sammy. I appreciate that. Stuart, hello. Welcome. Good to see you. All right. So, like I said, whether you're just curious or you're looking to do this or you're doing this and you're looking to add on some stuff, you're welcome here. It's all good. Because a lot of people do ask how I do this every week. And I won't kid you, it's not always easy. So we're going to just take a little look around. I'm going to show you all this stuff. Now, understand, on top of, everything crashing, I also did not clean up, right? So that you're getting a raw look at how I really do it. This is not one of those polished, I've got everything cleaned up and all the wires away and everything. Nope. This is how I really do it every time, because that is, I think, more useful than that, cleaned up look. So let's go ahead. We're going to get started just by taking a look at what I've got here. And then I'll show you how it comes together. So we're talking things like, monitors, keyboards, my X keys, Stream Deck, which I don't really use for this stream. I use it for my gaming stream more than that. I'll show you Murphy's beds if you're curious about that. But I just want to kind of give you the overview. So let's see if this is going to work because, stuff happens. Okay. So one of the tips for this is when you're doing this kind of thing, you do want to go slower than feels normal. I'm going to pull out back here a little bit because you don't want to make people feel sick. All right, so we're going to start all the way over here. Now, I'm not doing anything with this right now, but this is where I do demos. So when you've seen me do Rocketbook and stuff like that, that's here. And what I'm using for that, make my coffee out of the way, is just a Logitech Brio, right? And I've got this really cool little stand, which I love because it's totally flexible. I can get it to work wherever I want. It'll, turn and do whatever I need. You can also, there's a little dial in here. If we can, there we go. So you can turn it and adjust it. So it's really good for this kind of overhead stuff. Now, someday would I like to get a real, DSLR for that? You bet, but it's not going to happen today. So that's what this is. Don't tell Luria, but when I'm doing, I don't need it for this, but when I'm doing my gaming stream, I do need to hear the game. So I have my Pixel Buds here. In a minute, I'll show you my backup headset because again, things go wrong. Let me get this out of the way. There we go. Okay, so this is the arm that I have for my mic, because that way I can get it out of my way when I'm just working on things, but I can bring it close when I need it, and it's just out of the shot. So here, let me go back here for a second. Okay, so you see, I'm touching the mic. It's just out of the shot, in case you were curious. Okay, I need that button. Okay, my Alienware keyboard, because I like the pretty lights. And I also like clicky keyboards, which is a bit of a challenge when you're live streaming, because it does make noise, and because it's so close to my mic, the mic does pick it up, so I've learned to tap very quietly. This is my Wacom tablet. If you've been here before, you've heard me go on about this. So I use this in place of a mouse. Now I do have a mouse around here. Here we go. For backup, again, because sometimes things disconnect. So I've actually connected an old school mouse. Now I had to get a special connector for it, but it's got the ball. It's the old school type, because again, I like it. And I don't really like the laser mice. All right, so let's go back up here. Oh, this is a Google, this is the Android tablet. So I use that sometimes for monitoring comments, particularly if I've got a lot going on. You'll see in a minute that I actually have multiple ways of monitoring comments, but that's just another one that I'm using. Okay, this, I have to pull back. Okay, this is how I run my stream. I'm using vMix, and we will get into that in a little bit more, but I know it feels overwhelming. That's because I have a lot of stuff on here. One of the things I love about vMix is the fact that you can start off super simple with it. Camera, mic, and be ready to go. But this is a professional tool, and it will grow with you as your needs change and expand. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. So that fills up one entire monitor because it's got a lot going on, and I want to be able to find stuff fast. Come over here. This is my teleprompter. So this is a prompter people, and I use this for two things. So you'll see that I've got words on one side. So this is my bullet points, so I remember to talk about everything. But in the back, I can see everything that you folks are seeing. And that way I know everything is working. And if you look up here, you'll see this is my camera. It's a Sony A6100. So we have that. This is my other monitor. So this is where I'm monitoring the stream itself. I've also got the comments up, and I have the comments up in two. I have it up in this one here is YouTube's comments, and then this is the vMix one. And the reason I have both is because the YouTube one updates a little bit faster. Here we go, right there. But this is the one that I use to bring comments up. So hang on, I'll show you what that looks like. So, like for example, if I was going to bring up Sammy's very nice comment, right? So that way that comes up. So that's why I have two of those up, because I get different benefits from each one. Okay, one sec, we'll go back. Seriously? There we go. All right, let me find my thing here. Okay, so that's that one. Then I have a whole other monitor right there. And this is the one I use for demo. So this is dedicated to just when I'm going to share stuff. If I'm doing a how-to, if I'm just doing kind of a walkthrough demo, there's that. I also have my Surface Pro. So that thing you saw at the beginning, if you were here from the very beginning, this is how I do this. I used to bring in the artwork for the stream, but I found that it's easier just to do this here. So I'm going to just show you real quick. This has saved me like an extra step, and every second you save is a good thing. So I used to download it, bring it into vMix, get it set up, use it as an input, but I actually don't have to waste the input anymore because I bring this up in Canva, and then I come down here to where you see these double arrows. We're getting some glare here, but... And so what I do is I just make that full screen, and then I bring that into the production, and that way I can run the ticker at the bottom and all that kind of stuff. So this works out really nice. This is also the machine that I use for my gaming stream. So when we're playing games on Twitch, I'm actually using this. And to be honest, I'm really surprised at how well it handles it, because it's an older machine, but it handles it fine. So we are all good to go with that. If you're curious about like the rest of it, like it's very messy. You only see part of it, right? So if you look over here, you see I've got a couple of these lights, just to throw a little light on the background. And I've got just various things that amuse me. That I have to install someplace, but you see, like, I've got stuff all over the place. Right, and then more colored lights over there, and then a picture of my girl Bailey, who unfortunately is no longer with us. Okay, so let me make this so that it doesn't make you sick when I swing it back around. Okay, there we go. And then this, this is an older phone of mine. This is a Pixel, I think it's a 6, and it is connected directly to the computer. And because of the updates that Google has made, I don't even need a capture card for this. I can just connect it. When it's connected, I get options of, okay, this is connected to your computer. What do you want to do? Do you want to download files? This, that, and the next thing. But there's now a webcam option. Now, it's not available for everybody. I've been able to do it with my Pixel phones 6, version 6 and later. The 5 doesn't do it. I don't know if it'll ever come to the 5. But this is something you're starting to see more and more. Microsoft has been talking about doing this for a while, and there are ways to do it on Apple products as well, but it's just nice because I can, very quickly go ahead and do things. And speaking of doing things, I know that people will get angry if I don't do this. Murphy, stop licking yourself, please. Thank you. So this is the Murph Man, right? And this is his setup. So I bring him on camera a lot, especially for the gaming stream. So here is another old webcam that I'm using for him. I have these string lights because it's kind of dark and shadowy under here, and the shadowy dog in the shadows makes it hard to see. So he's got his own little bed here, but because he is Murphy, he has more bedding space over here because sometimes he which is totally fine, right? So we have Murphy covered in all directions. All right, so let me look at my list and make sure I covered all the stuff on this. Now, all the, well, I'm realizing I forgot a couple of things, but the links for the gear are in the description, except Facebook. Facebook gave me a hard time tonight. That's a whole other stream I think I'm going to do. But if you're on Facebook and you want it, just go ahead and email me. I am your tech coach at gmail.com, and I will get that for you. Or you can go over to the other platforms that let me go ahead and post that kind of stuff. Just saying. Okay, let me look at my list here and make sure I got it all covered. We did the computers, we did the Stream Deck, the X keys, the monitors, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so like I said, I'm not going to get super technical today, right? We're going to keep this kind of a high level. Here's what's going on in the background, just so you can understand like all the different pieces and how they work together. Like I said, though, you do not have to have all of these things, right? It's nice and it's fun, but you don't have to. You can start off very, very simply and still turn out great content. So please don't feel overwhelmed, right? All right, so when I am doing things, like the flow that I'm doing things, I start off in Google Docs. I know, but it works. And that's where I put in, like my initial notes and my planning, and then from that I build off and I build out what I'm going to be doing in the stream. Once I have that sort of roughly sketched out in my head, then I go to Canva and I use Canva to do the other things. So let me bring that up again so you can see. Okay, so if we go here, let me get this out of the way because it's easier to see all the stuff. So over time, I have developed a bunch of different thumbnails that I use on like YouTube and Facebook when it cooperates and so on and so forth. And then I also do my social media post, the image at the same time. So if you look, you'll start to pick up on the fact that I have created sort of a pattern, right? So if I'm doing something with Canva, it's usually got a yellow side on it and the logo. Google stuff has this little green thing. When I'm doing just generic stuff like I am tonight, here, I'll bring that one up. I'm not making you sick. This one. Oh, this was last week. So this way I can just come in here, I can copy one of these now and just jump off and do it. And there's a subtle pattern to the colors that I'm using, all that kind of stuff. Some people notice it, some people don't. That's totally fine. But if nothing else, it helps me find what I'm looking for. And then once I've got it set up, so this was last week's show, I come up here and I do the resize. And I usually make it an Instagram post size because that seems to work for most of the social media. And here, I'll show you how this works. Just real quick. So you come in here, you pick what you want, you say continue. It'll give you a little preview. And this one's actually pretty good. Sometimes I have to go in and do more editing than other times. Looks like there's some white that we'll have to clean up. So we'll say copy and resize. I already have this, but just for demo purposes. Yep. So you see this has got a little bit of extra stuff here. So give me a sec because I'm doing this. So I just shift that over. And then I would just download that. And then there's a relationship between the thumbnail that I'm using for the show and the social media post so that if people do click on it and want to go and see the replay or see it live, that's sort of a signpost kind of thing. So for those of you who don't know, I design software for a living. And it's important to make sure that when somebody clicks on a link, that there is something when they land on that destination that verifies to them you've landed in the right place. And so that's the pattern I use to achieve that. Again, you don't have to do this kind of stuff. It's just an option. It's how I choose to do it. Because I like order and patterns. Makes my brain happy. Okay, so we talked about Google Docs is where it all starts, and then it does progress all the way through with that, from the notes and the ideas into the bullet points. But I also put in like the text for the emails that I'm going to send out, the social media post content. I put it all in there so it's in one place. And it makes it easy to go back and refer to it or reuse it. Canva, as I mentioned, is my visual tool. Now, understand, I have other graphic tools at my disposal, right? I do graphic design as part of my job, but I can't beat Canva for the speed and efficiency. So Canva is my go-to when I'm doing anything for streaming or recordings, because it's so easy and so fast to be able to create eye-catching, thumbnails and title cards and social media. It just works. And it's at a super simple and intuitive interface with tons of templates. that's usually what people start off going to Canva for, is because the templates are so awesome. Not that you use the templates as is, but you can go find something that's like, yeah, that's kind of the look I'm going for. You take that in and you then go and you customize it and make it your own. Your brand colors, your logo, your tone of voice should come through on that. Now, I'm using a paid version of Canva, but you don't have to do that. Again, they have a ton of functionality available for free. And I started off using the free, but I ended up paying for it because that means I have access to their entire library, right? So I can use any of the images or music, video clips, like anything I want is there. But don't let that stop you. If you need something to get started with, I promise you, you can do a ton of good stuff inside of Canva for free. And they don't honk at you about it, which is lovely. Alrighty. Before I go too much farther, I should probably introduce myself to the people who don't know. Hello, my name is Kathleen. I'm here as your tech coach. Short version of the story I kind of alluded to already. I do software design for a living. I've also been a tech writer and all kinds of other things. So the people in my world, my friends, my family, my neighbors, tend to come to me when they have a question, a problem, if they're looking for advice. And I've learned over time that not everybody has that. So hello, we're here every week to go ahead and try to make the technology in your life make work for you instead of the other way around, because that's how it's supposed to go. Technology is supposed to help us, and it can. I'm just here to help you get over the little humps along the way. Alrighty, so let's keep going. And I'll explain how I'm doing these in a minute. Once I get the show kind of fleshed out and everything, I get it set up in YouTube and Facebook when it behaves. I may change that over time, but for now, that's what I've been doing. And then I go ahead and I start to post on social media, get the word out about not only the live show, which you'll get that notification if you or sign up for my mailing list, which, what the heck, might as well tell you about the mailing list. So if you want to know what's coming, you can go ahead and use that. But you don't have to, you can check out the socials as well. So I'm going to show you, I use two tools for my social. One is called later.com and the other is radar.io. The reason I'm using two is because while I love a lot about Later, it's a little spendy. So I have a basic level account. I do pay for it, but it's pretty basic. And I do find that I run out of posts that I can do each month. So that's why I have Radar to kind of supplement it, because Radar was a one-time purchase. And between the two of them, I can get my content out the way I want. So let me just show you what this looks like. That's not the right one. That's the right one. And let's get that out of the way. Okay, so one of the things I really love about Radar is this view here where I can see the whole month, right? So I can see everything. And we'll go back a little bit so you can see more of, so I can see the day, the time that I posted all of these. If there was a problem, they would be lit up a little bit different so that I would know that there was an issue with that one and maybe want to go and redo it. But you'll see up here in the right corner, right? I'm out of posts for the month here, which happens. But the other thing that I really love about this is when I am scheduling, you can go ahead and you can select multiple places to send to. Here, we'll grab one more. And with one drag, and this is going to fail because I don't have the time anymore, and this is actually in the past. Here, we'll actually go with the future. Go with a date in the future. So you can pick the day and the time that you want it to post. Let's say I want to do it, sometime earlier. Oops. I said earlier. All right, well, you get the idea. Then you can go in here and you can customize it if you want to. It's giving me notifications because I don't have space for the other ones. No, I'm not plugging you right now. But when you click on done, let's see if it'll let me. No, okay, because I don't really have any more for the month. But it will then let me go in and customize for each one. So I'm able to multi-select, but then I can go ahead and adjust. Like, for example, on Twitter, you have fewer characters than you do on something like Instagram. So I can remove some characters from the post for Twitter. I'm not calling it the other thing. And get that customization. So I love the drag and drop functionality. I love the way this gives me the view. I love being able to multi-select, but you can just do it to one if you want, right? So you can deselect these, and just send it to the one, and you're good to go. So whatever way you prefer to work, it totally works for you. That said, there are times when I'm going to run out. So this is Radar. They have a dark and a light mode. I'm a dark mode girl, so don't let that throw you. But the nice thing about this is it shows me in different colors. Okay, so the green are all the ones that posted, and if you hover over it, it shows you what posted. These are the ones that are scheduled to go out later. And if we go back, I think I can probably find one. Yep. So here are a couple where there was a problem with the connection, and so they didn't go out. So it gives you a really fast way to see how successful, like, did it go out? Did it not? Was there an issue? And I can go ahead and zip through all that kind of stuff. The scheduler is a little less intuitive. So the basic way of doing things is you come in here, the content pool is where you create your new post. So you come down here, you say new content, and you do it. If you wanted to post something, you're going to say publish now, which is not intuitive because you don't have to do it now. You can schedule it out. So let's say I'm going to schedule something for June. What did I pick? June 6th. It uses military time, but you can go ahead and control when you want it to go out. And you can say apply. And then again, you can come in here and you can say, okay, I want it to go to all the channels I have listed with you, or you can pick, you can pick just a couple. So whatever works best for you is the options that you have. Let's see, and then you come down here and you say schedule, and then it goes out there. It's a little bit more manual process than I feel later is. Now, again, your mileage may vary, right? This may click with you and this may be your favorite, or you may find something else that you prefer. There's a lot of options out there. But for me, the fact that I can do this and still, and not run out of posts that I can do every month is the reason that I'm using it. The other thing that I've become quite a fan of is if we go back to the scheduler, we're still in May here. So let's say I wanted to redo this one. So I can come in here and open this, and I can say duplicate, and duplicate it in the scheduler. And this will add it to the calendar. And then I can come in here and I can pick the day and time just like I did. So this is a little bit faster for me. And I'm finding that I'm using this more and more. But again, just up to you. And because I did a copy, it already has the 3 platforms that I sent it to. So that saves me a step as long as I'm not looking to add another one. If I do want to add another one, I can just come in here and I can add it. So it does have that flexibility. You can also update the post if you want to. So let's say you want to change something based on the activity of it. And then you just hit schedule and it adds it to the calendar. So that's why I have 2 of these at the moment. Is that always going to be the case? I don't know. At some point, maybe I'll just ditch everything and go over to Radar. Well, things change over time, but this is what I'm using right now. All right, let's see. What else have I got? So, okay, yeah, so I showed you Radar. And so the whole point of doing this way is because I like to have things scheduled out, right? So I have a full-time job. I have several side gigs. So I need to get things done in advance as much as possible. And that's why it's so important for me to have these kinds of tools, because it streamlines things. Now, it doesn't stop me from doing a post on the fly. I do that all the time too. But there's a certain level of comfort knowing that if I don't have the bandwidth, if I don't have a fresh idea today, I don't have to worry about it because I know that there are posts that are going out. So it creates a nice balance for me. So just something to think about. All right. So the other thing, and I'm not going to be able to demo this because it looks like they're doing an update, but I am using MailChimp for my emails. So people have very strong opinions about their email tools. Use whatever works for you. I've been using MailChimp for free because I was grandfathered in for free. So hard to say no to free. Now, I will say that I have recently gone to a paid account because there are some things happening in the background that I'm hoping will be really big, and I'm going to need more power for my email. But it's a really good way to build anticipation, keep people up to date. And again, you can schedule this stuff. So you can let people know in advance. You can set a time and a date. You can pick your entire list or subsets of your list. And it just keeps everybody in the loop, which is super important in my opinion. Your mileage may vary. Alrighty. All right. So I'm just looking to see if there's any questions. So, okay. Sammy and Stuart have seen this kind of setup before. Alrighty, let me get this closed here. All right, so let me just real quick, I'm just going to show you again, the links are in the description, but I do have these here. So I talked about the teleprompter. The reason I use the teleprompter is because it makes it easy for me to keep an eye on my notes and yet maintain eye contact with you. I don't personally use a teleprompter software. I'm practicing with that, but that is a learned skill, and I'm not there yet. But I keep working on it. So this is just how I make sure that I'm covering everything, that I'm not forgetting anything as I, randomly talk about all the stuff going on. So this is the one I'm using. There's a ton of different ones out there. You can feel free to go look at it. The reason I like these folks is because they have a wide variety, right? So if you need a way more professional one, if you're going to be like 10 feet, 12 feet away from the teleprompter, they've got ones where you'll be able to read those, but you can see my setup is very close and they have ones for that. The other reason I like these folks is because they are stupendous about making recommendations. You can reach out to them and you can say, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is what I want. These are my goals. This is my price range. And they will make recommendations for you. So feel free to go ahead and reach out to them. Unfortunately, I don't have an affiliate for them, but oh well. Okay, we'll get into this a little bit more here, but the X keys, so these are switchers. So what you can do with this is you can program each button to do something. And they have a big variety of different tools and the size of them. I would love to get a bigger one someday, but they've got a lot of different things, and you can program this not only for your streams and your recordings, but you can use this in your day-to-day setup, right? You can use this for shortcuts inside of whatever applications you're using every day, all kinds of good stuff. So this is the stuff that they have available on Amazon, but just so you know, they've come out with some new stuff, so you can go ahead to xkeys.com and check out all the cool stuff they've got. Here, we'll take a look here. Here's the new stuff. And I'm trying to limit myself to one, but I'm going to be indulging. Oh, here, I'll just show you, I would love to get this one. But we have lots of colors. Yeah, as I've already, divulged, I'm a big fan of the colors. You've got all these little stickers and tags that you can use, or you can create your own. It's a really handy thing. And once I started using this, this made my live streams and my recordings so much easier to manage. So highly, highly recommend it. That said, you will hear out in the marketplace about the Elgatos. And I do have that, but like I said, I really don't use that for my regular streams. To be honest, I don't even know if anything works here. Oh, okay, that does work here. So I did bring up an overlay with it, but this is not my personal favorite. It's not enough, though. I have the XL, which is the big one. But it's still not doing it for me. The other thing that I find I don't like, and here let me switch over. Where's my camera? Okay. Sorry. Okay. So I like this on the X keys, right? It tells me my mic is working. And I've got able to lay this out however I want. You can change all these things. You can pop out these spacers, and I could put a key in here if I wanted to. It's completely customizable, which is not true for this, right? So I don't have to look to use my X keys because I can feel where the spacers are, and then I know I've got each section doing something different, and that works for me. That said, I've got this because a lot of people do it, and I like to stay on top of it because I have to help a lot of people with stuff. So I do have this, but the other thing that I find frustrating about the Stream Deck is the noise, right? When I push something here, there's no noise. It is quiet. Not the same with this one, right? When I click on this, I'll stop talking. Now, you can very carefully do it to get the sound you want, but that's not what I need, right? I need to be able to slam a button and get what I want. So personally, I'm not a super fan of this like a lot of people are. That said, you do what works for you. That gives you a little preview into how I'm doing all this. Everybody's got a preference. Everybody's got a personal way of working, things that work better into their workflow. So don't let that throw you. Just go ahead and, try what works and see what works for you. That's all I'm going to say about that. Okay, so let's talk about vMix, shall we? vMix is all kinds of awesome. Okay, so the first thing I have to say is, as I wax poetic about vMix, vMix is a PC-only solution. So if you're on a Mac, don't worry, there are other options, but because I use Windows, this is the perfect solution. Like I mentioned earlier, it's also professional level software, right? But you should not let that stop you from using it if you want to, because you can literally, when I first started using vMix, I had the camera and I had the mic, and that was it. I had no overlays. I had none of this other fancy stuff. It was very, very basic, and that's what I love about it, right? Because I'm learning this tool, and I'm using this tool, and I've been using it for like 10 years now, but it's just grown with me. I have yet to have a need that vMix has not been able to fill for me. So that is what makes my heart happy. And it also means that like I don't have to keep replacing it, as I need to do different things, right? It's because I do different things, right? I do live streams like this. I do the gaming thing. I do recordings. I can do all of that inside of vMix. But not only that, I run other people's shows using vMix, right? So I'm able to bring in people from remote locations and run their show for them. I have done that one-on-one. I have done that for events. And again, vMix has nailed it for me every single time. And yes, I love it too. Stuart, actually, I think you're going to hear about something soon. Yeah, so that's that. So let me just, again, I'll bring this up so that you can see it. I have to remember which monitor is. I don't normally switch to my vMix one, so I don't have a shortcut for that. Let me find it. Or do I? Oh, I might have lost it. No, I have it. I just showed it to you. Hang on, I think it's this one. No, it's not that one. It's not that one. Okay. Nope, not that one. I just showed it to you. Like I said, I've been having some issues today because that's how things go. That's all right. You know what we can do? We can change something else to be this one if I can't find it really quick. Oh, I know. I showed it to you on Cam. That's why. That's why it was there. Okay. Let me just change this one. One moment, please. Most of the time when I'm doing this, it's on the sly, so you don't even know that I'm changing things. Let's see. Is it that one? No. This one. I do wish that it labeled the monitors differently. Worst comes to worst, I will just switch back to handheld camera because that works too. You need to figure out, yeah, I don't know why it's not. All right, let me try one more time. Let's see, how about this? Will that work? No, okay, so we're gonna do this the old-fashioned way. And we're gonna use this. All right. So let me get vMix up here. Okay. So you see, I've got a lot of stuff going on here. And basically what this is that the area on the right side is where my actual production is right now, right? So if I point down, right, so this is what's going out to you folks. On the left side here, this is what I've got prepared to come in, right? So I could go ahead and switch between that and this, and that just makes that easy. I can also do that down here, right? So I could click on something. Yeah, let's do this one. Down here. Oh, okay, well, no, I don't want to do that because that's got other stuff going on in the background. Let's do this one, right? So I've got sort of a placeholder one. Okay, we'll go back to this. So when people first see this, they're a little overwhelmed, but each section is doing something specific, which makes it much easier to understand. Let me get this out of the way. Go. Alrighty, so down here in this lower section, these are all of my inputs. So inputs are things like your cameras, your overlays, your mics, the other monitors that I'm bringing in, and each one of those gets a unique number, and I can go ahead and do different things with them. Over here, this is all the audio control. So this is the mic, the music I'm running at the beginning of the show, and the mic, the music, I can get a whole, oops, I keep trying to do it on the wrong one. So I got a whole list of the music. I can shuffle it, I can remove things, I can add things, and I can control all of the audio. Now, we're not going to get into a ton of detail on this, because there's a lot of power here, but the point is, this is all of the stuff that you want to use, and this is how it goes out. So as an example, right, so if I come over here, you can specify in vMix different shortcuts, right? So I can literally control my stream with one click. Like if I need to mute myself, and you'll have to take my word for it, there was no sound there, right? This is how I start my stream. This is the intro that I run. These are sound effects. This is the outro that I'll use later, and this is how I end the stream. And all of these can do a single thing, or I can build them out to do multiple things, which is amazing. And all I have to do is hit this button and things come up. Let's see if you can. So that's how I got that subscribe thing to come up. That's an overlay. And I literally just press the button and it pops up. And then when it goes away, when it's, you know, at the end of the little video, it's all set and it goes away. The same thing like with these things, right? This is another button that I have. I have to keep switching back and forth. So I hit this button and that comes up. Like the comment that I did. Sorry, I'll hit that. And then that brings that comment up on screen. So it's really easy to run your show as a solo, right? If I wanted to switch to, oh, the Murphy cam isn't working. Okay, we'll have to work on that. But it does all of the different things that you want it to do, and everything is just one click away. And most of them are a toggle, so you can go back and forth and do it. Now, I'm not going to get into a lot of details about vMix, but it does come with a ton of stuff. So, you know, you can control your triggers. There's a bus manager, vMix social. That's how, so this is vMix social here. This is how I'm bringing stuff up. So if I want to bring up a comment, hey, tech troublemaker, I just hit this. And then that comes up on the screen right there, which is what I said earlier about having the two chats open. Because I can see stuff a little faster in the YouTube one, but the vMix social is the one that lets me bring stuff up. What else was I saying? So yeah, so all the stuff that you can get inside of this. Here, let me bring this down here for a second. Okay, there we go. When I start mucking around when I'm live, I get a little nervous. Okay, let's go back to this so I can show you. Here, we'll get a little closer. Okay, so when we go in here, there's all these other things. There's the title designer, so you can actually create overlays and lower thirds and all that kind of stuff using their tool. And since it's built in, it's really simple to make those connections. There's a ton of stuff, video tools, diagnostics, like just a lot of power in this. And then up here is where you have all of your other controls, right? So this is how you set up your stream, how you decide how you want your screen to look, all the different inputs, different options. So you can customize this however you want. The thing I spend the most time in are my shortcuts, because this is how I go about building it out so that I control it from my X keys. Everything here is something I can hit a button and make happen. You can do scripting in here, the activator. So that's, the activator is how I get this to flash, right? Well, if I do that, then you're not gonna see this camera, but you can do different ones and there's different colors. And this is an X keys thing, right? You can't make, at least today, you can't make the Stream Deck flash. You could do some other things with it, but I like this for me out of the corner of my eye. This lets me know that things are working. You can do scripting. You can set alerts. Like there is as much power here as you could ever possibly need. But again, you don't have to use it. You can keep it simple and straightforward. And that is where I recommend everybody start with it, because it totally works that way. So let me just see if there's anything else. Yeah, so this is where I switch between cameras, add overlays, and basically just control the whole production. vMix is where I use vMix Call, but you could also use Zoom and Teams, all that kind of stuff to bring other people in. So it's really versatile, professional grade streaming experience that you could also do recordings with. Oh, and that's the other thing I wanted to show you. Because not only, so I can go live to up to 3 platforms just using vMix. I don't need Restream. I don't need anything else. I can just do that. You don't have to, again. You just go to 1, but you can do that. But the other thing I wanted to show you is here. Let me get this out of the way. Hello. There we go. So not only am I going live to 3 different locations, hopefully I don't, yeah, so I've got all 3 of these going, but I'm also recording at the same time. So what that means is I'm creating a local recording of this stream that I can use for other things, including as a backup, because sometimes the connections to one of the platforms will fail. Well, I have this local recording, so I can go ahead and post it later. I can edit it. I can cut it up for social media, all that kind of good stuff. So lots of different options there. So that's that's the quickie walkthrough here. Again, I'm just going to check my notes. I think I covered it. So hopefully that gives you a feel for what's going on here when I'm doing this. Again, don't be overwhelmed. If you want to do this, you can totally do this. And feel free, if you have any questions, if you have comments or whatever, you can go ahead and throw those in the comments wherever you're watching. I do go back and watch those. No question is too basic. Please don't feel like you can't ask something here. The whole point of me doing this is so that I can answer people's questions. As always, all of this stuff helps, right? So if there's one here, right? Like, subscribe, tell people, that does definitely help. And if you like this kind of content, let me know in the comments also what you would like to have covered, or if you don't want to do it in the comments, you can go here. There's a contact form. Let me know if there's a question or a topic you want me to cover. That's where this came from. I don't know if this is the best video ever, but that is where I get all the really good ideas, because if you let me know what you're asking, what you're curious about, what you're struggling with, you're not the only one. So if you're actually helping more people, if you let me know. So there you go. All right, so for you folks who power all the way through, I really appreciate it. So here's the bonus tips for you, why I use these tools and why you may or may not find them useful for you. And that is, let me take that off, because it's a very personal thing, right? Everybody works a little differently. Our brains work a little differently. There's a lot of different tools, and I have tested a bunch of them, right? And some of them, like right out of the gate, I was like, yep, no, this doesn't work for me. Some I was able to use for a while, but it did not grow the way I needed it to. So these are the things that I'm using today. May change tomorrow, but these are the ones I'm using today because they're fitting my needs and my workflow the best. Your mileage may vary, as always, right? There are a lot of really good options out there, and the key is to find what works for you. Like I mentioned, vMix is PC, but if you are on a Mac, highly recommend Ecamm. A lot of good people using that. If you're looking for something that bridges both of those worlds, there's also StreamYard and other things like that. That's a little bit different. So Ecamm and vMix are installed on your hardware, so they're using the power of your system. StreamYard and some other ones are browser-based, so they do limit you a little bit in what you can do. But again, many people are doing very awesome content and streams just using that kind of stuff. There's also stuff like OBS and all that. OBS, there's some different flavors of, and in order to do some stuff, you do have to be comfortable finding and trying plugins and updating them and all that kind of stuff. So again, it depends on your comfort level, your workflow, and what's going to work best for you. If you're feeling overwhelmed, but you're curious about this, feel free to reach out, right? I do consulting, so I help people figure out what it is that they want in their stream or recordings, and I can make recommendations that are specific to you. But I also, as I mentioned, I run shows remotely for other people, so lots of options. However you need to achieve your goals, we can get that worked out for you. I hope you enjoyed this behind the scenes peek, and I would love to hear from you about other things that you want to see. Please don't hesitate. That's what we're here for. Hope everybody's going to have a great weekend. Take care, and we will talk again next week. Bye. Here we go. Should I show you me hitting the button? I'll show you me hitting the button. One sec. Okay, so I'm going to hit the magic button to run the intro, or I'm sorry, the